Hello and welcome to another Retro Games Review here with Arjade on the channel Arjade. So we're going to go along with film movies again, but this time it's not so much Disney stuff. This is a bit of a controversial game as well as a controversial movie, and that's Alien 3. I wanted to talk about this one because I actually find this game really interesting. So I played a different version of this on, I think it would have been the Sega Master System. Yeah, it would have been Sega Master System a long time ago. It might have even been... This is the SNES version, so it wasn't the SNES, but yeah, so it would have been Sega Master System. Anyway, and it was very different. It was the same sort of idea, but it didn't use the features that this one did, you know. They've used a lot of, the graphics to set up the, it looks a lot like the movie at the start, but then the game is completely different, and that's what a lot of people whinge about. But this one sort of, I don't know, it's the first game that I've seen that really incorporated, like, proper quests. Like, there was, like this computer system, which we're gonna see here once I work out how to use the controls. And, it sort of gives you missions, but it was sort of open world as well. You had 7 levels, and in each level you had these quests you had to do. I like Heat It Up, because I like the flamethrower, so it kind of works well. And, yeah, you'd do one of them at a time, and you'd choose it, and it sort of gave you a map. It's a blasted nursery down there. We gotta fry all the alien eggs in Waste Area 3. And it sort of shows you where they all are. And, you can sort of see what's going on there. And, it gives you blueprints, which is a map, like, yeah, crazy. Yeah, so this takes a long time. Anyway, and yeah, so this first game sort of, really, this is a unique sort of gameplay style. Like, I don't think I've seen it in anything else. And, an Alien Corridor number 1. There you go. Which is this one here, which undoubtedly has lots of alien eggs. But yeah, so, you didn't really see this in any other games, and you don't really see, it again. And maybe there's a reason for that. A lot of people sort of whinge about that online. I've seen a couple of people who are talking about this game. Anyway, I'm doing this one firstly because Alien 3 was my favorite Alien movie, and I think this game also sort of gives us an opportunity to talk about some old games, right? So make no mistake, this game is very difficult to play, right? So, well, especially if you're a noob like me and just walk into dudes like that. So yeah, like, it's got tons of enemies just crawling around like crazy, which is, again, opposite to the movie, and a lot of people whinge about that. Whoa. And it's, got very specific goals that don't necessarily work well, and its controls maybe don't work well as we're seeing. Whoa. Anyway, point being, yeah, so I started playing this game on, Sega Master System, and then I looked into this one, and it turns out this is a very different game than the one that I played, which is, quite unique. And the thing that makes it different is this whole quest system that you sort of go through and do all that business with. Now, a lot of people whinge about this game, and I think a big part of it is because it's so hard. Like, it's not an easy game. You've got very limited ammunition. It's one of the few games where that's an issue. You've got, a lot of enemies. Probably too many enemies, to be honest. And it's got, platformer physics that you have to deal with. Such as enemies that are too small for you to shoot at. And also lots of, jumping and avoiding stuff. It's a big deal, right? Bad spawn points like that one. I'm going to fall down into some lava. It's always good. Anyway, yeah, so let's take a talk about the big issue that's wrong with this game, right? So the thing that a lot of people complain about is the idea that it's not like the movie. Now, the movie, and this is very similar to Cthulhu games, right? A lot of people are like, hey, Cthulhu games don't really feel like Cthulhu, what's going on? Now, this game, the movie is all about the alien within, right? So there's one alien in Alien 3, and then there's sort of, you know, this question of, is Ripley impregnated with an alien as well? Right, which later on we, you know, spoiler alert, we discover that she is. And Mrs. Ginger Fox just looked at me like, hey, I haven't seen the movie. And so it's all psychological, you know, and that was a deliberate choice by the filmmakers to make this, you know, they didn't want 1,000 aliens, much like this game, because they felt Alien 2 did that. Oh man, I'm getting smashed. Anyway, ignoring my terrible gameplay. You know, they didn't want that sort of feel. They wanted one alien to make the alien feel scary. And they wanted to, you know, do this whole idea that we all have these beasts within us, and that the alien that's within her is a metaphor for... there's a guy that's from a different quest. It's the 50 Shades of Grey quest. A guy chained up on the wall. Anyway, and oh man, crazy. So yeah, like, you know, they wanted it to feel that psychological issue, right? Now, look at this game. At the time this was came out, this is, you know, pretty much standard graphics of the time. You know, this is good level graphics. You know, it's not cartoony, it's realistic, it looks good. It's a, well, complex... Oh, that's lava, that's not helpful. Oh, it's a, you know, complex graphics system, you know, like it looks realistic, not cartoony. So, like, how could you do that psychological level stuff? Oh, I'm dead. How could you do that psychological level stuff with this, you know, this level graphics? You can't. It's not possible. Even now, have a look at some of the games that, you know, incorporate things like Cthulhu and, you know, that other really psychological stuff. It's not easy to do. So let's load this one up here. And I think that's the problem with this game is, you know, a lot of people say, oh, they already made a game for Alien 3, Alien 2, and they just wanted to knock it off and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, let's face it, that might be the case, but it's also in the way that, you know, games and TV things, you know, and movie things react together. I mean, you see this a lot in all sorts of games, like, look at Aladdin, right? We looked at that game at the start, and there's only 6 levels in that, pretty straightforward. And, you know, it was... you know, and the game doesn't really match up with the entirety of the movie. It's got, like, you know, segments from the movie that not necessarily a solid lineup. Likewise, you know, look at The Lion King, another great example. Look at modern examples of this stuff. And yeah, it's really, really tricky to do. And then, if you look at, you know, Alien Isolation, they've brought out an Alien game which is trying to be very much like the Alien games of, you know, like the psychological issues which the movies have. And is it successful? You know, some people say it's very good, but a lot of the things that I've seen, I wouldn't want to play it. It's, oh man, getting smashed. You know, it's not really, you know, an entertaining thing. It's got lots of story, but it doesn't, you know, it's not dramatic, and you lose some of that. Oh man, where'd that guy come from? You lose some of that, and it's not an easy thing to put into a computer game, is this whole psychological side of things, because, you know, you have to have choice. Man, these corridors are a nightmare. Far out, I'm just gonna die. Anyway, let's move on to the gameplay stuff, right? So, we've talked about this, you know, sort of movies not meeting up to the expectations of games. We talk about, you know, these sorts of things, but you know, what's really interesting to me was that this was essentially, you were just given the world. It's like, here's everything in the world. You know, here's another 50 Shades of Grey guy. And, well, and told, go here, go there. And I think it's a pretty cool little mechanic, you know. Now, granted, there are probably way too many aliens in this game. And while Alien 3 only had 2 aliens realistically, it also, you know, like, how boring would this game be if it was just the whole time you were running away from one alien through corridors like this? Like, it's a game that would not work. Not that this game works very well, the controls are a bit crappy. But still, cool idea. You know, and this thing really had this idea of these missions, and I think that more games could learn from that sort of a, you know, you can see where stuff is. Likewise, this game wasn't afraid to really kick your butt, you know. And yeah, so here we go. So this one's the bug wash. Not really where we're meant to be, but okay. Like, look at the environment. Like, you see this in the movie. This is a replica of the, you know, the part where the alien drops down and gives her the kiss. You know, it's called the kiss scene by the filmmakers. Like, and look at that. Like, you look at it, it's a good replication. It's an excellent replication, you know. Oh man, getting smashed. Except for the fact that there's an infinite number of aliens. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at here, you know, is this idea that these games can really be, oh man, these games can, you know, film games often get a bad review, and likewise, movies that are made off of games often do terrible. But that's, you know, does it translate? It doesn't always translate from one to the other. This place is going nowhere. I have no idea where I'm meant to be going, by the way. This is crazy, you know. We see these corridors in the movie again, you know. We see these sorts of corridors too. Look at that dude hanging out there, just looking over the edge of the balcony. So, oh, look, for what the programmers had in this game, it's still simple mechanics, you know. This is one of the things that I'm big on, is just simple mechanics. They created challenge by limiting resources. You have limited bullets, you have limited flamethrower stuff, right? You have an excess of enemies, which, oh crap, oh, thought I'd die from falling. All good, you know. And it's got platformer issues in it. It's got, you know, some serious enemies in it. It's got missions. It's a very complex game, I think, and I think that's what really makes it work. Look, I know there's a lot of hate for this game, and I think that you know, you're welcome to give this game a try and let me know, or if you've already played it, you know, let me know what's going on, and how you feel about this game, because it's brutal, man. And I think that's, you know, that's all part of the challenge. Alright, the last thing I want to do before we go here is look at some alien corridors. This is probably the most hated section of the game, is these alien corridors, because it's difficult to see the aliens and where they're at, and because there's so many aliens, you're just dying all the time. But, you know, it's really captured that idea, you know. In an alien movie, you don't want to go where the alien's nest is. That's a really bad move, you know, and that they've succeeded that in making that a feeling. You don't want to be in here because you'll get confounded by an infinite number of aliens. Anyway, look, I'm about to die, so I think I'm going to call this a day. That's my little rant on this movie. This movie game. I think movie games are good, but and horror games are sort of, you know, good. Psychological games can be good, but you really need to develop the ability to make that happen. I'm about to run out of bullets. Far out. and the graphics that this thing had, the storytelling capabilities that this had, was not enough. Here we go. This is where I die. So yeah. Anyway, Alien 3, my favorite movie. I think a very clever game. I think it uses its very basic, programming uniqueness to the best of its ability. It could have done with less enemies and maybe a little bit better of controllers, but other than that, I think it'd be an excellent game. It's really captured the setting, maybe not the feeling of the movie, but definitely the setting of the movie. That's what's important. Alright, so I'm gonna die any minute, I'm sure. Run out of bullets. Oh, we got through. Get some flamer. That's pretty good. Oh, there we go. Alright, ciao for now, guys.